Welcome back to White Mountains Today. I'm Chelsea Hupalowski, and sitting here with me now is Brian Solomon and Jen Staines, both here to talk about all the fun things happening at Conway Scenic Railroad. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. It's awesome. Yeah.
Of course, yes. So there's tons of stuff happening, but first of all, let's talk about Conway Scenic Railroad and what it is for people that don't know.
Right. Well, we're an iconic part of this whole valley. The railroad's been here since 1972. We are founded by Dwight Smith. We have a steam locomotive. We have a very, very unique railroad station. It's the only one like it. It was built in 1874. Okay. It was designed as the gateway to the White Mountains, and the expectation was at that time is that you'd come up from the Boston area by train, and when you got here, that would be your sort of welcome to the White Mountains, and then a horse and carriage would come and pick you up. So Schooler Park, which is right in front of the station, and all the properties around it were all owned by the railroad at that time. So we have a real fundamental connection to the whole town of North Conway. I mean, the town kind of revolved around the railroad, and this was a railroad terminus. And what's interesting for people is the railroad station, our roundhouse where we maintain and keep our locomotives, and the freight house were all date from the 1870s. And the whole arrangement of the property hasn't really changed much in 150 years.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. There's so much history there. That's insane.
Yeah, so even if you don't go anywhere on the train, one of the attractions is the railway and its environment, because it has that old feeling to it. You know, it was never really modernized. And then we have a variety of different train rides depending on the time of year. In the summer and fall, we do our valley trains, which run to Conway, and we have a Sawyers River train that runs to Sawyers River. And the Conway train's about an hour. Sawyers River's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. And they're more aimed at people who want a short ride, you know, families with kids, that sort of thing. And then the premier train, which is where Jen comes in, is our Mountaineer, and that runs over Crawford Notch. And in the summertime, it runs as far as Crawford Station, and then in the autumn, starting the first week of September, it runs all the way to Fabian. And when it runs to Crawford, it's about 4 hours and 15 minutes, and then it's about 5 hours or so when it goes to Fabian. And that's our supremely scenic journey. That goes over Crawford Notch, and you'll go over tall trestles, and there's rock faces, and you can see waterfalls, assuming we're not having a drought.
Assuming that.
Which this year can be a bit problematic,
say,
but although it's raining today, so you should have some nice waterfalls on your run today.
That'll be nice. A lot of people want to see that.
Yeah,
and
there. Most of the passenger cars on the Mountaineer are all named for the different mountains you see along the way. So yeah, I mean, we've got some really neat things on the train. One of the things about the Mountaineer is it's aimed to recreate a 1950s transcontinental streamliner. So we have some of the built Vista domes, which has like a glass bubble at top, and that's our premium class. And where Jen comes in is we have a full service dining car. So she actually prepares meals on the train, and you can order a really nice meal, and she'll tell you all the details on that.
Absolutely.
And what I find interesting as a railway historian, as the marketing manager at Conway Scenic, is that we're one of the few railroads left in North America that actually prepares food in a historic diner on the train for the people who are going to be enjoying the food on the train.
Oh, wow.
So you don't just eat the food.
Bringing in food that's
made.
no,
it's actually made on the train. So that's a really cool part of the whole experience.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, tell us about the options there.
Well, it's really interesting to be doing what we're doing. We own a little restaurant in Bartlett called Cabin Fever, and we started this year with the Conway Scenic catering. So we offer a 2-course dinner, we offer a 4-course dinner, everything from a box lunch with a ham sandwich to roast duck with a homemade raspberry drizzle. We have a really nice wide variety of options. The dining cars, the Hattie Evans, and the Rondelie, which is where the dome is that Brian was speaking about. We do white linen service, and it's a really nice experience to be able to not only go on a historic scenic ride, but also to have the nice restaurant experience at the same time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. For the 4 hour, that's for the 4-hour journey.
Yeah. So the longer trips have this dining service. One of the things I wanted to mention is historically they used to call the Mountaineer the Notch train because it goes to Crawford Notch, and we renamed it 2 years ago. But the other thing we've done is we've also extended the amount of time that we run it into the season, where they used to end it sort of third week of October when the foliage completed. Now we actually run it well into November. We run almost all the way up to Thanksgiving. I think we've got 9 runs scheduled for November this year. And November is actually an incredible time to ride over Crawford Notch because the leaves are mostly gone, but there's still hints of fall color, and you can see the mountains. It's, to me, one of the best times to be up there. And the reason we started doing this is we had an employee special on the first or 2nd of November about 3 or 4 years ago. And everyone sort of realized, A, there were still a lot of people around, and B, this is an incredible time to see the railroad. Why aren't we running trains? And I'm like, that's a really good question. Why aren't we? So now we are. And we did 6 runs last year, and 5 of them sold out. So I'm like, let's add a few more.
Incredible. Yeah, keep going up.
Yeah, I mean, the only caveat is if we get that, off-season blizzard, it could be a bit of a challenge. We do have a snowplow. People will see it in the yard. It's this big, huge thing with a gaping mouth, and it can remove drifts and whatnot, but hopefully we won't need to use that.
Well, that would be interesting to be up there during a big snowstorm.
Yeah, well,
That
it'd
would
be
be
very
very
interesting.
interesting.
I'm hoping we don't have to do it because I could see me getting called for the snowplow. We do run the snowplow during, we run a snow train in January and February, and that often will go out ahead of the snow train to keep the line clear.
Oh, perfect, yes.
Yeah, the snow train only goes up to Attitash. It doesn't go all the way to Crawford. We usually stop going to Crawford, at the end of November.
Stay a little bit.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
And,
Well, that sounds incredible.
and again, we're really glad to have Cabin Fever on board because they can give us that professional restaurant experience to our culinary aspect of it. So we're getting really professional restaurant people on board the train. So it's a perfect blend of really good food and a fantastic train ride.
Oh, it's like the perfect experience, perfect day.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. A lot of the passengers just absolutely love the experience of being able to do both. Like I said, it's really nice to be up here and have the Conway Scenic, which is beautiful and stunning, and some of the most beautiful views in the valley. At the same time that you can have a really nice dinner.
It's a newer experience for the Mountaineer, of course. So it's like if they've done some of the other travels on the
Well,
train.
We've been improving the train, so this is like a real step up. And we have, like I said, we have these dome cars. We're actually in the process of acquiring another one. So when that gets here, that gives us, a more premium class. And each car on the train is a little bit different. That's one of the things that we sell, is that it's not all one experience. You could actually ride the train probably 3 or 4 different times and have a completely different experience depending on where you sit on the train and which car you're in. And we have narrators on board that tell you about the history of the trains and the history of where you are, because there's an awful lot of history going up over the mountain. Again, the trains do get very popular, especially once we get into leaf season. The premium class sells out like that. So we always ask people, to try to book in advance.
So if you want to experience any of these trains into November, the Mountaineer, the dining services, again, it's Conway.
Conway Scenic Railroad, so it's conwayscenic.com, and then 603-356-5251.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Highly recommended there. Thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having us.
I'm Chelsea, and this has been White Mountains Today.